moment.
First of all, let's be honest that it is horrible every life that we lose in our communities, period, because those are irreplaceable and invaluable. But let me also be real. You talk about a recall election. I don't know how many years Sharon Middleton Green has been reelected.
She's been in office for 14 years.
She's been in office for 14 years. So now in 2021, because, and excuse me not to talk ill of Fox45, because we strum up the people and then we do the little poll question at the end of a piece.
Right.
So do you think we should have a recall election and somebody take the hook and bait, and now it's all about a recall election for somebody been in office for 14 years?
You gotta be
The truth of the matter is that to adjust the community will take multi-pronged approach. The solution is in this room. And if you voted for these people, then you are part of the solution. The solution is in this room. And it is everybody working together.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's get some more people who have some questions. What would you like to say?
And Mackenzie, I have someone over here who wants to talk with you after your guest.
Okay, okay. First of all, 1 second, please.
Hi, I applaud.
Go ahead.
I applaud Mr. Hanna and the gentleman in the middle for your redevelopment efforts. And when the young lady passed this out, and
Where did you get this?
I think Park Heights Renaissance. When I look at 163 unit apartments, 84 unit apartments. Why do we keep forcing our people into apartments, low income apartments? We need to build paths to ownership, to build legacy for our children.
Yes.
So this disgusts me. This totally disgusts me.
Yolanda, can you respond to that? Yolanda, let me get Yolanda.
Yes, thank you.
So these are projects that have been well underway for years before I came to PHR. And I am with you. We are a large community. It is a diverse community. We need mixed development opportunities. There are going to be some people who need rental properties, affordable rental. There are going to be some people who need let me finish if you're going to ask me. Low income housing, and there are going to be people who want to purchase homes. We are working to try to effectuate all of that. I've been in office at PHR for 1 year and a half under a national pandemic. Under that pandemic, we did everything we could to support this community in human resources, food access, and everything in between, from assisting with the schools, returning to school, getting children supplies, and we started a development project that has been standing for a long time. Fox45 has covered it for years, and we now have 11 homes in the 2600 block of Loyola Northway. Last year, this time, we would have said it would have never happened.
But don't Baltimoreans see more homes? Home ownership is the primary way blacks have gotten wealth in this country.
And that's what we need to do as a community. We're all talking about the same issues tonight, but we are yelling at one another. Join us and come to our next community meeting on August the 12th. Let's all get together and map out a plan together. And we stand together and understand what we need, and we go to our legislators and work together. You are the power. You are the citizens. Everybody works for you. But they're not going to be able to assist every single one of your issues. We have to come together and develop priorities, and we have to use the funding that we have effectively on the priorities that we indicate, and then we have to identify additional funding resources, whether that's us fundraising, whether that's us going down to Annapolis, lobbying. Like, we have to get organized, because none of us in here feel different about the issues that are happening in the community.
All right, right there. Let's get back, and quickly, Mackenzie. Thank you, Yolanda. Thank you so much.
Quickly.
Can I say something? I live in the 2500 block of Loyola Northway. I appreciate what you're doing in 26. But I am a homeowner in the 2500 block. I have a building falling down beside me. I have called and called and called. I ain't getting no help. So why should I look at a house in the next block, which I've been in the neighborhood for 20-something years, and you're not helping me? I'm proud for that. I'm proud for the 2,000 y'all selling it for. That brings me up. But what do you do when the house next to me is falling down?
Yolanda, that's an issue that we have heard, and I've talked to a lot of people who have lived in this neighborhood for decades, and they're homeowners, and they're sandwiched between these houses that are falling down and their house is crumbling, and they want to stay in their home, but they can't. What can the city do about that?
Quickly.
I'm not a city official, first of all. I'm the director of a nonprofit organization that partners with the community.
What can you do?
What can I do is advocate for them. And if you would come to our community meetings, you would hear that one of my top priorities is trying to develop strategies and resources for legacy residents that live in Park Heights.
All right, Ms. Yolanda, thank you. Quickly, yeah, give me 1 second. Our future district, by the way, does rest in the hands of our children, as we know. Let's talk about education. So our final topic tonight, really quickly, the most important tool for success, education. I think that's been discussed in here tonight. Saving lives, of course, getting the violence under control. District 6, though, is a bit of a mixed bag when it comes to education, and I think, Ms. Jones, you pointed that out as well. Now, we do have some of the best schools we know in the Roland Park area, like Poly, Western, of course, further out City College, things like that. But what about these other schools in the city around this area as well? How are they doing, and how do we improve education for our students? Mr. Barksdale.
I believe it really starts at home, and then it also starts with the parents. My mother was a teacher for 31 years in Baltimore City. We need more homegrown teachers from Baltimore City because our people respect our people the most, as far as when it comes to teaching. So we need higher pay as well for our teachers. Our teachers really get paid, low, and I was bred from a teacher. And also more resources, more aftercare programs. This pandemic has made set our children back so far back. We need more investment in education and after school programs. And also one thing, when we was talking about the police, what happened to the PAL resource centers? We have probably the largest gap between the relationship between the police and our community. We need PAL centers back that bridge that the disconnection. But as far as education, we need more teachers coming directly from our communities.
Taurus, thank you. Quickly, Mr. Hanna, are school leaders doing enough to improve city schools, and elected leaders as well?
Well, I'll speak on the schools in Park Heights. We've had probably, while we have some of the newer schools that have been built in Arlington and Pimlico, and so we've had some of the newer schools, but we've had schools that have closed. And part of the problem that we've had with education in Park Heights is that we converted 5 elementary schools into K-8s, and that caused the problem when you had to close Pimlico, then you had to close Garrison, and then that led to the feeder schools that weren't feeding schools like Northwestern. And so that became part of the problem in Park Heights. So now you broke up the K-8s, but then the community But the people that lived in the community that couldn't get to those schools, they moved out of the community, and those schools then began to lose population, like Langston Hughes, like Dr. King, like Malcolm X. Like all of those schools that are named after prominent people in this community are all closed.
Right, but are the school leaders doing enough to improve the schools in your estimation?
No. Absolutely not. And look, I would think anything, we can always do better, right? We can always do better. Nothing's going to be as bad as it can be, and it's not as great as it can be. But when we look at schools like Pimlico, and I look at a school like Arlington, and I look at, what's the new one on Liberty Heights? And then schools like Forest Park was Calvin Rodwell. Right. So you look at this area, and we probably have more new schools in this area than any district in the city. But the quality of the education hasn't changed, just the building look better. Right. And so we're not changing the quality of the education.
And so that's the point. How do we improve that?
I also think,
yeah, quickly.
We're in Park Heights, and we need a bunch of development.
20 seconds, and now I got to close.
We're a bunch of development on the way for Park Heights, but the citizens from Park Heights are not skilled to get those jobs. Maybe for areas such as District 6, we should have workforce development programs directly in our communities to train our men to get these jobs that are coming.
I've got to close. I want to thank each of our guests here tonight. I want to thank the audience members tonight. I know this has been a bit contentious at times, but it shows the concern, the passion for making things better. And I want to thank each and every one of you, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, Mr. Copeland, Mr. Barksdale, Mr. Hanna, thank you all very much. Here's a little note, a postscript to our discussion in District 6. I want to point this out. It's never easy to take on difficult topics. Of course, we know that. We had those here tonight. We want to thank our guests. Violent crime we're dealing with, crumbling buildings, and also economic challenges here in Sharon Green Middleton's district are complex, and they're also daunting. But change is not going to happen unless we come together and have discussions like these tonight, and that's why I want to thank each of our guests for coming out here tonight and offering solutions to these problems. Again, we want to thank our panel and also the concerned neighbors who came out here tonight. We want to thank the pastor for allowing us to be here. Our collective goal to build a better Baltimore. So let's hope some of our elected leaders will show up at the next town hall. I'm Kai Jackson. Thank you very much, and have a good day.